is again here, and I hope everything is working. We will see. Well, with all the starting and things, I think we will get better in the future. Daniel had some great suggestions on how to improve, and I botched them all. So the one thing I added was the microphones. I hope they are good. I hope they actually improve our quality for today and the future as well. So please give us feedback if you think it's better now or not. The idea is to have you listen to our beautiful voices clearer and better.
Smooth.
Exactly. My scare was with the two that we might have an echo. I tested it and before we went live with a couple of recordings. I think this should not be an issue. But yeah, let us know. Either now in live chat or if you'll watch it in the future, we try to improve for the next time. Other housekeeping, just to get everything out, we will answer some questions from our Discord today. So if you have not seen, because I have been slowly rolling it out so far, there has not been a blog post yet, but we have our official Safing Discord now. You can find it on discord.gg/safing, and there's a link below the like button. So give us a visit there. You can always engage and talk to us there, and I think we will talk more about it later. You want to add some housekeeping up front?
No.
Okay, well then.
There's housekeeping for me.
Okay then. The main topic today will be, as I said, a question from, or something we got asked from the Discord. It's about the upcoming roadmap. We have some exciting news to share. And afterwards, we will go into some of the questions you have been finding in the description below, which, as always, we will continue. And we will probably never run out of those. If you have a question that's very important to you, let us know as well. We might push it up. But now we just look at the list and go for the questions we like. So we'll see.
And we kind of group questions together to topics that kind of evolve around a similar thing. So
that's true. And they sometimes come from one question. I split them up into three because I think they're more easier to understand.
So it might be a while until kind of enough questions from that area get together before we go at them. So
that is true, of course, as well. Okay, so roadmap. I feel like we're talking about this every live stream, but of course, a lot of stuff is happening. For those who don't know or haven't figured this out, we're using Scrum as our planning tool, and we have 2-week sprints. So for us, the roadmap is always very clear for the next 2 weeks, a little vague for the further 2 weeks. And then of course, like the backlog is enormous and we could keep on working for, I think, almost a year. But the reason why we're using Scrum is because it's agile and we want to have stuff that's like important to the community to get in there. And one of the many things that happen when you have that much great user feedback is you never reach actually like proper milestones because there's always so much we know we want to do.
It's kind of a thing between focusing between kind of long-term goal and going after that and getting important feedback. They were like, okay, but these are things that we need to improve right now. And kind of going between these two. So it does definitely improve the product a lot.
Yes.
But at the cost of not getting to this destination, which if we would be ignoring that, we'd be at a destination with a product that nobody wants. So that's definitely not what we want. So
Absolutely. The reason, just a small tidbit, the last big update, 0.9, which had the graphs in there, there were such strong user requests that we wanted that in there. Even though, like in January, when I wrote the blog post about when we were moving to beta, the graphs were like not part of it. So I feel like I would like you to maybe say what our next big step is. If you don't want to, I can of course go ahead and tell the people as well.
Well, sure. So we've been kind of our year has been full with like improving a lot of small things, of course. But the main thing was kind of moving towards the beta milestone that also Rafael laid out in a blog post earlier this year. And there were some like priority shifts in there. So the we're not going along fully as we anticipated with that. But also there are like there's a change in there. We've we've looked into how the Portmaster performs and how things are going, and we feel that actually, like also from the feedback we got, that is it's always especially with reviews, they were like, "Oh yeah, it works so good," and but beware, they say it's alpha. And why did we label it alpha so long? Because it was important for us to, in the first stage, to under promise and over deliver. So we don't want to promise like the blue sky and then like you get a rainy day. That's not what we want. We want that people expect that things don't work, may work, but then for most people it will work. And we've been working hard on a lot of issues, especially also in the last month with more developer capacity, which pretty much 100% went into stabilizing the whole system. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna move forward to version 1.0 in the near future, which means that we believe Portmaster's actually stabilized a lot over the last months, and it is time to go out with it and declare this is ready to use. Don't fear, because this is going to it's going to work for 99.9% of people, which is the same as with every other software. So same as it probably, I mean, a daring statement would be, will we work as well as Microsoft Office? So we'll fail as often as it does, because like even Microsoft products fail on their own operating system regularly. So that's just things that happen with software. Software is complex, and there's like interference with other software, and it is especially with like software that you not only build for your own server where you control everything, every aspect of it, but you build software for clients and
For other people, yeah.
for other people.
So
And there are so many different configurations of clients and so many like weird things out there. We will never work on every single device. So that's just how things are.
Yeah, to add to this, I recently got a request of a user who is like using a very specialized version of Windows, and like this is stuff we could never test. We're only like not 9 people here, and with only 7 full-time employees and 2 part-time, and so or 8 full-time equivalent, and so we could never test for all those different Windows and especially all those different Linux distros. So actually one of the things now is we will, before V1, like update our compatibility list and stuff. But so yeah, I think it's you're right, we feel like this, but I think we can actually say it like this, and you are very like cautious in regards to how we move forward, and I agree so much. We don't want to overestimate ourselves, but we like how it was for me was I realized this. We were thinking about when do we remove the alpha label and go to beta for such a long time now that I think like, was it 4 or 5 weeks ago when I started thinking what will V1 be afterwards, and I'm like, well, I cannot imagine. I mean, there are so many features I want, but from a stability and from how the product feels, I feel like what we currently have in the beta channel, and we already told you guys about the different channels, release channels. I just kept on using it for quite some time. I'm like, well, this now feels more like a whole product, like a complete product.
Yeah.
And so I just said, this is where the feeling comes from. I'm like, I feel this is V1. And if I can feel it, and I would say, and this is partly the reason why I wanted you to announce it, I think from a technical perspective, like Daniel has been pushing for so long, well, we should go beta. We should not say it's alpha because it's stable, it works. And I'm like, yes, it does. But from a feature like breadth perspective, yes, the depth is there, but like from you feel like you don't see everything you need to see, even though it's there, but you always have to do 5-4 clicks. But now we actually know what we need to surface. It has been surfaced so much better. And I think for me, as somebody who is using the Portmaster every day, I understand what is going on. I understand where it needs to go and what settings I should actually change. And yes, we know. We heard you. We need to update our documentation a lot as well. But this is something we can now actually do because we feel like the product is there. Everything is fine. We can sort of like improve it where it currently is and keep up, go back and update all of our documentation and get you guys all the information that you actually need. There are also a lot of useful links in the description down below and also on the Discord. I actually created a whole good to know and good to have section. And if you have more information you'd like us to include in there, let us know as well. And yeah, I think that's the sort of like the roadmap. So the roadmap is in the next sprint, we will gonna tie up most of the stuff. This is like in 2 weeks, within the next 2 weeks. And then we will take another 2 weeks to actually get the last things into place. So when we're talking about soon, there will be some under the hood improvements of the Portmaster in the next couple of weeks as well.
Yeah, a lot of changes from the last month. A lot of good fixes are about to go into testing. And so there are a couple more stabilizing things and fixes coming, as well as a very, very important update for the UI, which what Rafael mentioned, that what he was using, and it felt it's complete.
Yeah,
it's felt we've reached that stage, and if you want to test that, you can already switch to the beta release channel and try that out, what he was experiencing. A couple of fixes for that are on the way because there's some bugs. That was the first version. There are fixes coming. So there is, you can already test out these things, and we're wrapping up, as Rafael said, the last fixes, and very important and big fixes.
Yeah, and feedback is very welcome. Daniel already told me he's scared when we are pushing all of those fixes together, that as we said earlier, like we don't know like what devices are out there using the Portmaster, what configurations, what sorts of Windows flavors are out there, what sort of Linux flavors are out there using the Portmaster. And so if you see something, tell us. We actually, we don't see anything about you guys, like what devices you run and
especially beta users. If you see something that's not right, don't expect that someone else reported already. You are one of the beta users. We rely on you to report to us and tell us that something is not wrong.
Yeah, and for all of us,
if you don't, that bug you just found will go into fail.
Yeah, and everybody else, and so many other people will experience it as well. So please tell us. We are actually requiring it. We are in need of those feedbacks, because we otherwise, as you said, don't know. Well then, so yeah, V1, big thing. 2 weeks, and then a couple of more days till we actually push it. There will also be, in association with this, some updates to the homepage. Luke has been working on a great new design. I'm not gonna spoil it too much. Last week, you don't know, I think, I did a sneak peek of the new UI, so people could have seen this. So this is basically, you could see it yourself if you move to the beta release channel. But actually, like, this will also be the big V1 design change. And yeah, so the homepage will change, of course, with it. There are some old screenshots on the homepage. The network, like the threat model is still
Don't
in
even
there.
mention it.
Yeah, I just wanted to put it in here. This, if you're still using it, is deprecated for quite some time. I think we even made a blog post or some small announcement that we're deprecating it.
Yeah, we did.
It is gone with V1. We might bring profiles back in the future, but it is gone in V1, and yeah, not to see the light of the day anytime soon. Danielle, I knew when we started moving into that direction that it will be gone, and Danielle actually then asked me, like, are we doing something about that? Shall we move it somewhere? And I'm like, no. And he's like, so we're killing it? And I'm like, yes. I made that decision like a little bit too quiet, I think. But so yeah, network rating is gone. Just if you don't know what it is, it doesn't affect you. It will. Yeah. We don't know how many people it affects, but we think it's a very, very small margin. Yeah. Way less people than the prompting situation.
It will, and if you are using it, we're sorry that we killed it.
That is true.
But it will come back. It will come back a lot better, a lot more useful, a lot easier, a lot more powerful.
Yeah, especially more powerful. And I think it will be more powerful to many more people because we're like changing the whole concept about like how we're going to do for this now. But just rest assured, it will come back in the future, not for now, but in the later future. The homepage will be new. And in association with this, let me plug the Discord again. With the new homepage, we will also sort of change some of the wording. Thank you, Broyo, for asking about the SPN. We will talk about it in a second. But the SPN as the product and the upgrade we're selling will change a bit as well. It will still be called the SPN, but the SPN as an add-on will be included in a Portmaster package. So let me preamble this as well. Everything that is included in the Portmaster for free will stay free for now and ever. But we will add another tier that we will call the Portmaster supporter tier, because how we can do what we are doing is by people paying for the SPN. And we know that €9, especially because we're currently only on desktop, is a much. So we want you to, and for those who are asking to support us, and some of you are already supporting us on GitHub, which we don't actually like, we're offering you to support us directly via a supporter tier as well. So it will be called Portmaster Supporter, and the benefit it will start with is private Discord channels. So we are already active in our Discord. The link, as I said, is in the description below. But if you're paying, if you're a supporter, if you're paying for our work, helping us to do what we are doing, you will get access to some different channels where we will share stuff that is coming up sooner, and ask for feedback, and ask for, like, I will more openly share ideas probably as well. And we're working currently on something where when you add your Discord ID, that it automatically gives you the appropriate tag. If you're already a subscriber to the SPN, you can already reach out to me and I can already assign you this role manually. But this will be a manual process. Also, we have not announced the Discord officially yet. I know with this live chat, typically, like the last one has above 100 views. But yeah, we know that the live thing is not too much watched, so I'm feeling comfortable sharing it in this setting. But yeah, the blog post will come out soon as well. where we describe why it's Discord, how to get there, and with the whole pricing tier. But if you're a current SPN subscriber, it will be called Portmaster Unlimited. To make it clear as well that you're paying for the Portmaster, and the SPN is a feature that's included in the Portmaster.
Yeah. Why are we doing this? Because it makes communication so much easier.
Yeah.
Because we don't have to explain anymore like how our business model works, because you just see it immediately, and it makes it so much easier in like talking about our products. We only talk about the Portmaster and what it can do for you, and one part of this is the SPN. So it's a lot easier talking about one product than about talking about two products. So that is a lot easier for us on our side in how we communicate. Something maybe to add to the supporter tier.
Sure.
Something what we want to do but don't have the capability yet, and we're working on it, but it's not there yet, is to provide prioritized support. So, but we're not yet sure how to do this in a way that we don't miss people, because we don't want people like to buy the supporter plan, then open a support ticket, we not realizing them being supporters and kind of not prioritizing their requests. That would suck. So we don't want that to happen. That's why we're not yet pushing that forward, but we want to do that, and we'll find out how, and then that'll be there. The private Discord channel is kind of a bit of a precursor to that, where you kind of have
direct access,
better access to the team, and can ask direct questions, and can get more direct help, and that's also the room where I'll be hanging out more, the private channel. So if you want to ask me a question, that's where you find me.
No, we have been, the support tickets have been growing over the months. We know that there are more people. I recently had a look at our GitHub stars, and they're like exploding. If this is a resemblance on how many people are using the Portmaster, it's like a lot. And so 200 subs. Thank you, Broyo. You're right, but we have over 4,000 GitHub stars at the moment. So, I think we touched 4K. Yeah, I know. I think Simplewall has half of it or something like that. Love the product. Like in the past, but like the Portmaster just like is doing something different.
The Portmaster is an obliterating force.
And of course
we obliterate trackers. Of course,
the people working on Simplewall are doing their best in their regard, but we're doing something different. So we might be talking about them in the future, because it's a question that's actually in our question list, but we're not touching it now. So Broyo, let's answer. We did the Discord question now, like with the roadmap. If this was not enough, please go to the Discord, ask us. I'm always happy to share what's going on and what's changing. As I said, agile development means like a roadmap set in stone is always hard. But these are the next 4 weeks-ish, what's going to happen 4 to 6 weeks. So, Bro, you had the question about the SPN. He wanted to know information about how the SPN works. Last time we talked about how the Portmaster works. Can we quickly go into how the SPN works?
Last time we talked about how the Portmaster works, and we went really deep.
I know.
Is that the depth you want for the SPN now?
I just at one point in the future, yes. Maybe we will do even a proper standalone video for this in the future. But if we already have the question in live chat now, I think we should answer it now, at least on a top level. So if you're just on a top level, what is the difference between us and a VPN and Tor?
You know what would be really cool?
What?
A blog post about that. But wait for it. There's an animation on the side that will show what is happening, and the further you scroll down while reading, the animation will go forward and resemble what is described in the text next to it.
I agree.
That is wow. That's wow.
This is not something we're currently doing, and this
Yeah,
is
that
not
is
something.
just too much work for
Yes,
So
we are not a media house. We're a programmer like hut. We're like we're
I'm gonna hang on that, and we'll see whenever, like in a year or so, we get time, we can do stuff like that.
How old is Portmaster? Broyo just asked. Portmaster was released in 2019.
I think so. Yeah.
19, yeah.
The first version. The first version was a very geeky version.
Yes. Geeky is the right word. So Portmaster is like 3 years old.
Yeah.
Like in a version that you could actually install on Windows and on Linux. Like we are developing Portmaster for 5 years at this point.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Been a while.
Full time for 4 years. Yeah. Full time, like 40 hours per week. 4 years. Yeah. No. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's coming along.
It is coming along. Yeah. And 4 years, like full-time work is a lot. It is a lot. Well, you get to know your like co-founders very well over those 4 years. It's like a marriage in a certain regard.
In certain regard, yes. Yes.
Yeah. Love my wife, but still love you too.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's like, you know, the good sides and the challenging sides, you could say.
Yeah.
Like we've had our share of that.
That is so true.
But
we can
we came out stronger before that. So no worries about that. We have a strong team, and there's absolutely no sign of kind of anything breaking apart. So
yeah, this is so cool. Like, and I think we are very like lucky with the whole team so far. As I said, I think before the last video, when it was clear that you're not here for the video, I'm like, shall I bring somebody else of the team on? And I asked the people, and they said, like, there were some people asking for this, but we'll see. Yeah.
Fun. So
yeah, asking how we're doing full time. Very cool question. If you maybe we will skip the SPN question because it's a bigger one, and I'm just going with the questions.
Sure.
How do we manage to do full time? Well, for the first, like Daniel had the idea. Daniel wanted us to.
Should I start at the beginning?
Yeah, sure. So, yes. I love the idea. Start at the beginning.
So
let me.
I kind of had the idea to build this software to protect privacy easy. That was the idea.
This is not the beginning. Like what? No,
it's the beginning where the funding starts.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And then I realized, wait, I can't do this next to a full-time job, so we need some kind of funding. And there still is this funding agency that's part of the kind of Internet Service Provider Agency of Austria, which is not a provider itself. It's just kind of these are the guys that manage the .at domain.
Yeah, so the TLD for Austria.
Yeah, and they're kind of a non-profit, you could say, to some extent, or similar to it. So they just don't kind of run off with the like money they get from that, but they like
.at I think costs 20 euros per year or something.
Yeah, something like
that. But I mean, you know what service you're getting. They are not the ones like Namecheap or something. They're just selling the license that somebody else.
Yeah, they run the .at name servers.
Yeah.
So they manage the top level domain. They're not a reseller.
Yeah. So how much would you guess this is per year, the .at name server? Is this even 100 euros per month? Per month?
Well, they have a lot of people working there.
They have a lot of people. You're right. They're not the smallest.
It does cost a lot of money, but what they've started doing is they take $1 million per year and they distribute that to open source projects.
In Austria.
And so the main requirement is that the software, whatever you're building, is open source, and the application is really easy. And what's really great about them is that it's 100% funding. because a lot of times funding is only to a certain percent, and the other percent you have to bring yourself. But with no money in the bank, there is no way I can show the other part of that. So we went there and we got, that was beginning of 2017. We got our first 50K, which sounds a lot. Also sounded a lot back then. Now it's not a lot anymore.
9 people.
As we grow. But that kind of kickstarted the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I brought both Raphael and David on board, and we three kickstarted with that. And then we got more funding from the Austrian federal funding agency. So they research, yeah. So research funding. So they just give money to Austrian companies in order to strengthen the Austrian economy.
But you're skipping some bit here. Yeah, just so first off, we're fairly clear about all of this on our homepage. You can watch our influences there. It says everything, and what you're sort of like overstepping here is, or like what you're skipping, like from 2017, and the Austrian Research Agency started in 2020. So those 3-ish years almost. We funded ourselves. We did not take any money from Safing. Every euro that was inside Safing was used to pay for servers, was used to pay for like the devices we needed to use and stuff. So it's a lot of like us just being lucky as well, and having like very kind wives who provided for us in some cases and stuff. And so we bootstrapped this from the get-go. We know that it will be a longer way, and we bootstrapped it. But yeah, so this is how like the in-between part. And now you're saying like with the FFG, which is true, this is the Austrian Research Grants thingamajig, where they take, and I think you were about to describe this as well, but where they fund research in Austria. Austria is a very tax-heavy country. Like almost half of our salary is in taxes. Not quite. It depends on the tax height, but like it's a lot. And of course, then it's free healthcare, and it's like free doctors and stuff.
It is free though.
Yeah. You just have to pay in advance with all of those taxes. So this is how they make it easier for people, I think, like us, who are like trying to build something new, like with you asked about the SPN before, Broyo. Like it's this is actually research. This is actually something new. It's not like rebranding of a VPN. It's not rebranding of Tor. It's something actually new from a protocol perspective, from a technology perspective. This is, we will go into detail in a future video, but so this is actually new, and so they funded it. And you wanted to say something about that?
The cool thing is about like getting actual research funding is that we don't have to like sell our users before we get them. So it's not kind of let's just take VC funding and everything will be good. We can actually build a product that people will buy and live from the like payments of that product. So it's an actual good way to bootstrap a company, and that was really great to get funding from them and to be able to scale with that funding. So yeah, it's a bit frowned upon in the Valley, but well, the Valley is different. The Valley has other values.
The Valley has other values.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Well,
so
that is true. That is true. Yeah, so this is basically, and with the FFG, this was enough money. I mean, you can look this up as well. It almost has been €1 million so far that we actually got from them. We had to have some sort, like a portion of the money in there as well. So overall, with the FFG projects, it has been €1.5 million so far. The whole projects that have been signed off by them. And of course, this is like the kind of money where you can actually like afford a team and actually
build something.
Exactly. And so this is how how we as an open source software project were able to like get full time first in the beginning don't take any money, and then actually do something meaningful that's like actually like research, and then get research grants for it. We actually applied for a couple of different research grants as well, NL Tech and stuff, but with those it did not work. But yeah, maybe if you know somebody from NL Tech,
I
let
think
them know.
NLNet, I think.
NLNet, I don't know.
Yeah, they're like in
Privacy and open source stuff as well.
yeah.
They're
in Netherlands, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they work a lot with EU money.
With what?
With
EU money.
EU
Yeah. I think, what is the operating system you're using on your Android phone? I think they got money from them as well. Not sure though. But yeah, I think Calix got, or maybe E got some money from them. So they're funding a couple of
they're doing good stuff.
That is
for some reason, we didn't fit their what they were looking for, whatever that was.
Maybe it was also my presentation of it as well. I don't know. With this sort of thing, it's always hard to tell. They're very cryptic, and of course, they're getting so many requests by so many people. It's always hard. And for us, I think sometimes I think we feel too big, and sometimes we feel too small. Like from their perspective, looking at us, sometimes we're perceived as a very big project and very big company, and like with. Yeah, you know, maybe you have felt like that as well. And then others are like, well, you're not even there. You like, what is going on with you? Especially people from the Valley. Yeah, so that's it. That's that. But I think a very cool milestone for us where we realized how big we were. People who are like watching GitHub and watching what's going on with GitHub. We have been the fastest growing GitHub project in the first quarter of 2022. Like from year to year GitHub star growth.
We were like number what?
We were the top one without VC money.
That's true. Well, I think overall we were like
five or four.
4 or 5, place 4 or 5 of the top 10 growing, and the only one without VC money.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was very, very cool, and we were still in the top 20 in the second quarter or something. So Safing actually grew a lot, and like our user base grew a lot, and the GitHub stars grew a lot over the last year. Yes, it is V1 is we're saying it's stable with V1. So maybe to answer those two questions now, Broyo, yes, V1 is stable. It fits like the 0.9. This was not planned that the afterwards will be like 1.0, but yes, we will drop the alpha label. We will not go into beta, which was actually what we thought about. And we want to be like, of course, measured like in regards to like other outlets telling us with more quality what they think is wrong or is not. GHacks, I think, said at the end that he did not experience any issues, but he mentioned that we are saying that we're alpha, and so we feel like, as you were saying, like from our testing, from our experience, from what people are telling us. It's mostly like the stability is not the issue. Us saying that we're alpha is mainly what people are like reacting to.
Yes.
And so now that I feel comfortable and that we feel comfortable that the breadth, like the feature set that we're having feels complete, we're moving to V1 and dropping alpha, skipping beta, and just head on over to like proper releases. And Saprit or Saprit?
It's an I, yes.
Yeah. Asked earlier, like if we're working on other stuff as well. No, like Safing is working on the Portmaster and the SPN. This is what we're doing, and the SPN technically like is the Portmaster as well. It's like it's one of the parts of the Portmaster. Yes, there's a server component to the SPN.
Yeah.
That is true. And of course, we are like hosting many of the servers. We're getting some community nodes running. This is maybe part of the roadmap as well. Some people have been asking for community nodes. We will get we have some interest in Asia as well for running community nodes, which will be very interesting. especially in Asia. This will be very interesting because we know the Western market better, have so little experience in the Asian market. Had some great user feedback for the South American market as well in regards to where to get service and stuff. So great user feedback. Yeah. I already have lists for this. So
I'm intrigued.
Yeah. No, and it's always cool and great to hear from people who are actually there, who know their stuff, who maybe know what ISPs like have good access and like where those cross-country like backbones are. We know how the US and Europe are connected and like how the backbone goes through Europe, but like it gets murky for us in regards to how like South America, I have no clue where those cables come from, but we have people in the community already who are like know that stuff and who actually helped us and reach out. So if you have stuff, let us know as well. Let us. We'd love to hear from you.
Maybe adding to the question, like if we do something else, right? We even killed another product we had to in order to focus better because we saw that we needed to.
We killed that in 2019. We killed that in 2019. Yeah. But so 3 years ago, before the Portmaster.
Something, but like, of course, if like Portmaster and SPN are running really well in the future, we will look for new challenges. We will like look at the how privacy is.
Yes.
Again, and we'll find the next biggest
issue.
Yeah.
The
next biggest pothole. And fill that one. So
but I think
expect us to keep fighting.
That is true. What are we currently? We just earlier when going for lunch talked about the Manifest 3 thing with the browsers. We're not actually sure. Like, of course, Portmaster blocks trackers and blocks ads, but especially like YouTube ads, how they're injecting them into the video. We probably cannot do that now, but in general with Manifest 3 we're looking into how we can actually like get a solution for people who want to still use Chrome for some reason and don't want to switch. I mean, I understand. I have friends who use the Portmaster, who use Chrome and don't want to switch to Firefox or Brave or something else. So yeah, Manifest 3, if you haven't seen the video from the Linux experiment, it's how Google tries to push their agenda onto the open web and remove ad blockers for browsers.
What Ralph is trying to say, Portmaster will keep us busy for some time.
Yes. And but of course, you know, we sometimes joke about the safing browser. We do joke. It's not something that's coming anytime soon, but we actually have been asked from the outside as well. Somebody who's like, well, why aren't you doing a browser? And I'm like, no. But yeah, I would love to work with Mozilla.
We have a couple of questions like in the pipeline.
That is true.
So where are your servers located? Right now, mainly in Europe and in North America. We have couple other locations. But that's kind of where the two hotspots are, and we are looking for good other locations. The thing is, bandwidth is what our main driving cost factor is, and bandwidth is cheap in Europe and North America. So it's not that easy to get servers out like anywhere else that provide good bandwidth ratio here on that. So that's kind of the challenge for us. If you find something, please send us links. Tell us what you find.
And this, of course, is one of the things as well, but there are multiple answers to this also.
Community nodes are coming.
That is true. And of course, it's also about like available in English or German. So the two languages we know the best.
That's true. Yeah. So
I trust there's stuff out there in languages we don't know, especially local ones. We found that there are great German services out there, which are like in German, and then the servers are like the deals are very good, and we can look at them and stuff. Also, it has somewhat to do with the trustworthiness of them as well. And so if people already are trusting them and we get validated to them, we cannot fly to every of those locations and inspect them. We have, maybe this is then for reassurance reasons good as well. The SPN, of course, is trustless. Like this is the one thing when people are talking about VPNs where I'm like, well, you're trusting the VPN provider that he's not logging, but you're trusting the server hoster as well, and you're trusting that there's no hacker who's actually in there as well. With the SPN, the way it's built, there's no useful information on any of those servers. It's also the reason why community nodes are such a good idea for us, because also we're thinking of them like maybe talking to some public outlets as well. I think I'm gonna name drop maybe the New Oil. Not sure though, but we're reaching out to some creators and asking them if they want to host a node, and then maybe tell you what they actually see on those servers, and tell you like as a continuous audit, basically. There is nothing there they can see, nothing that is useful.
We also thought about like just hosting a server and publishing the live feed of the logs it produces to show that there's nothing in there. So that's also something we've thought about. Not sure where we're gonna go with that.
But we're not just to make sure, because you're saying publishing it. Yes, but we have a no log policy still, just to make sure that everybody.
There's nothing.
So this would contradict this, and we're not sure if this would be worth changing the no log policy just for a publicity stunt. So our like users' privacy is still very important, but in that regard.
What I meant is
yes.
with the logging is every software produces logs. If we ever read about a no log policy, that just means it's not logging your information. It is of course logging like warnings or errors or what is happening with the software, because the operational team needs that to see what is going on and to like keep the service running. So no logs always means not logging your information.
I just today answered a logging question on the Privacy Guides forum, where they were talking about Tor and what's like information logged by Tor. And of course, like every server node can log timestamps, packet size, even with HTTPS, the domain name and stuff like that. So but this is our standard. We want to be better than VPNs, absolutely, and better than. I think our goal definitely is to be better than Tor. But this neatly fits into the question of us: how secure is the Portmaster? I mean, the question from Sirhan is more about like the Portmaster itself. But for us, I think in general, the question is how secure is the stuff we're building? How confident are we? And for him in particular, the question has been, is there a possibility for malicious software to bypass like for Portmaster? And is there a possibility for malicious software to bypass the SPN if you're using it? Maybe that would be an interesting question as well.
Well, the thing about malicious software is that it doesn't play by the rules. So malicious software can, like, by the design that's built for it, bypass every security solution. That's why we still have a problem with malware on the internet, because security solutions only react to threats. So there will always be some malicious software that can bypass your security.
He is considering switching. Sorry to interrupt. Firewall controls and Malwarebytes.
So with that being said, the Portmaster is a privacy solution. Does it firewall work? Yes. Does it is it easy to bypass? I would say no. Will applications find a way if they really want to? Probably yes. The Portmaster is not an antivirus. We won't protect you from viruses. If you want that, install an antivirus. That's what that software is for.
That is true.
So we focus on security. Will we focus on privacy? Will we stop security threats if we have the capability to do so? Yes. Will we be adding an antivirus engine?
No.
No.
So, but this is not the question he's asking. He's going into the switching from Windows firewall control from Malwarebytes to Portmaster, having a
but Malwarebytes is an antivirus.
That is true. Yeah,
that's what I understood. I mean, Malwarebytes does this firewall thingy too. So the firewall thing is something that does work, and it is good. So if you only want a firewall that
Of Portmaster. Firewall of Portmaster.
Portmaster firewall, yes.
Yes.
So Portmaster works. So there's no concern there that like things will kind of wind their way around it. It works well, and it does its job good.
Yeah.
So there's nothing there. Will a virus be able to find a way if it's built to work around the Portmaster? Probably will. If we know about it and can fix it,
we will.
We will definitely. And kind of another question, bro. Of course, like every vulnerability that we find, we fix immediately, and we have automatic updates, so fixes are pushed fast, as well as we have filter lists that are updated hourly, so that you get the best possible protection. Of course, they're focused on privacy. Will we do security when we can? Of course. Whenever I see some weird stuff, new thing going around that's being talked about on Twitter, I check, does the Portmaster block it? If it doesn't, I immediately add it to the list, and within the hour, it's blocked on every Portmaster.
Yeah. And if you find something, of course, in that regard, you can tell us as well. I think we talked about filter lists already. We are like, if you have a good filter list, let us know. We also add this as well.
Sure.
I want to iterate because you're underselling the security part of it. And
okay, I'm trying to wrap up. Maybe you add your thing afterwards. So we focus on security, but we focus on
privacy. But what I want to add is,
and we do security wherever we can.
Yes. Yeah, that is better. Yeah. That is true. But
so
like, just
we will go out of our way for privacy, but we won't go out of our way for security.
But the security,
we won't be adding an antivirus engine. That's kind of
that's true.
To know what the extent is.
Yeah. But in that regard, our philosophy, and this is what I always try to interject here, because you're always saying, "Well, we're not security. We're not security." Good security, like without security, there is no privacy. What we're doing needs to be secure. What he is saying is, and I think this is a very important point here as well, what he's saying is we're not adding security features to the Portmaster because our focus is privacy, but what we are doing is secure, because if it's not, then there is no reason for us to do it. If our filter list would not 100% apply, and if there would be an obvious hole in it,
definitely,
that would let stuff through. And I think from that perspective, this is also the reason why, and one of the questions that we're not answering now, but in regards to undefined app and stuff, our approach always is we show you everything. Nothing gets hit. We don't hide something. We don't move something out of the way. For security reasons, we want you to see everything. And for privacy reasons, yes, sometimes this is a little bit confusing, and we want to improve upon this. And a couple of new iterations we will, especially with the undefined app, which just quickly is all the connections where we don't know which app they belong to. But for security reasons, you can disable, if the Portmaster doesn't know where this app, where this connection comes from, you can disable it. You can't just say, well, if you don't know where it's from, I don't want it to connect to the internet, and stuff like this. So we're not our focus in that regard, yes, is privacy, but we know that everything we do needs to be secure and needs to be very stable in that regard as well. And this is also the reason why we're saying, well, it already needs to be stable. It already needs to be secure. Well, now that we have the breadth of features that we feel comfortable with it being a complete part software, we're dropping alpha label and the next big update, and or V1 afterwards. And out to a bright future. Yeah, I just want to make sure that we're clear about this. We fix all vulnerabilities. We fix all security stuff. If people are part of the reason why we're open source,
we are security nerds after all. So
and all the people here working here.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so we are all about kind of security and stuff like that, and but there is kind of a
We're signing updates and stuff. Like this is
we're
also
starting this now. This will be out soon too.
this is security for us, and it's important. So, and we're going out of our way for this as well. It costs money. The like Windows kernel extension signing and stuff costs money. It's important for the security of our users. And all of this, like this is not just a nerdy thing. I just want to make sure
we should write an FAQ entry or maybe even a blog post about that.
Signing updates, signing
security and privacy, and the difference and how we focus on this stuff. And I think that'll be a great topic.
Yeah. So in regards to antivirus, and this is also a user question. We are getting this a lot. If we are an antivirus, and the easy answer is no, and we will never be one. This is not the direction we're aiming for. Sadly, compatibility with antivirus sometimes is fishy with the Portmaster, but this is also where it's so beautiful that Portmaster is free to use. And if your Portmaster works in your setup, you can just keep going. And if you like what we're doing, you can start supporting us, enable the SPN, and it's not changing anything anymore. So if it works with the Portmaster, it works with the SPN. Next thing, how many people work in Portmaster team officially? We don't actually, you're right, we are open source. The second part of the question is that you understand we're an open source project, anyone can contribute. We have had people, especially, what was this in our cryptographic thing, where people have been at least reviewing or doing pull requests. You have been talking to somebody of the Go team. I think this was
yes, but that was just someone giving us a heads up for something.
Yeah.
Should I answer that, or do you want to?
I don't know. You're maybe I'll add to some of your answers.
Okay, great. So everything we do is open source.
Yes.
So everything, the SPN servers, the Portmaster, of course, all that is open source. And we develop it in the open, and we welcome pull requests. But pretty much, that hasn't happened a lot. So we're not an open source, I would say we develop an open source product. We're not so much an open source project that is built by the community. We're still a company, and we have funding, and we have customers, and that's where the funds come from, the paid for the developers, which develop the product.
Yes.
So it is, we are open to pull requests, and it has happened already. Mm-hmm. And of course, if anyone wants to help us and to push forward, sure, you're welcome. But we as a company have, in comparison to an open source project, we have quite a kind of a way of doing things, and also kind of a speed at which we work. But definitely we are open to PRs and stuff like that.
So how many people are
officially
working?
I think we are 9 people in total.
Yes.
But that kind of covers all bases.
Yes. From a company perspective as well. There's not a single line of code I've written in the Portmaster, but I'm part of the Portmaster team, of course.
Yeah, developers were
3 Golang developers working on the Portmaster directly. Yeah,
depending on how you put it, we're up to and we're current focus is of people, because a lot of people fill multiple roles, we're up to 5 developers.
It's 3 people. Yeah. I mean, from a design perspective, I said Golang developers. Luke made all of the designs from the Portmaster himself. Patrick is contributing a lot in regards to suggestions, but Luke is doing the designs.
I'm trying to understand the question, the last one.
So basically, only 2 guys have made.
Which 2 guys?
This is the reason why I'm saying it's 3. It's you, Patrick, and Vladimir who are working on the Portmaster.
That's just the code part.
That's the code part. Yes, that's true.
We at least have the Luke for the signs and
exactly. exactly.
Alex for the whole payment thing, what David
Exactly.
included.
And
So-
the whole, yeah, exactly, account page and stuff. And,
Yeah,
and
so
Daniel,
we're actually at least
David.
6 people just for the product themselves.
Yeah, somewhere around that. But yes, but in the code base itself, yes, it's mainly like 2 to 3 people. I wanted to say in regards to open source and how many people and stuff, I feel like a good comparison would be we are more like Ubuntu Oracle than we are like Arch community. We're not just a community of people working towards a goal. We're more like a company working something out in the open. And of course, it can be forked in the future. And we sort of like thought about this as well. And we said, well, in the privacy sector, there needs to be something like us. And our goal is to be the first step towards better privacy. Our goal is to be the one thing where you're like, you want to improve your privacy, install the Portmaster. It works out of the box. And it does a great job. And we have been getting requests for people, well, why don't it starts locked down and you open it up? Well, the reason is that we want to be an easy first step for everybody, and you can lock it down. You can, and as you progress through your privacy journey and wanting to get more and more private, you can sort of like start to make those decisions. At one point, I think I made my browser so locked down that almost nothing worked when I loaded the web page, and I started like actually rethinking some of that
painful.
stuff. Yeah, it was painful.
It was painful watching him browse. It was unbearable.
Yeah, but like this is part of the privacy journey, and I think you always like go start somewhere, then have like a deep dive into something, and it's like it's a progression.
Yeah.
And the Portmaster, as we build it, should be there for you from the start to the finish. And the settings, if you had a look at them, we already have like the simple and advanced view. This sort of like should guide you there as well. We know we can improve there also. We're thinking of maybe adding a third tier there. There's already a developer view, but maybe a customer like easy third tier in that regard. But yes, so the Portmaster's goal is to work out of the box for everybody and to get a great starting point, good privacy from the get-go, and then helps you like to the needs when you develop and enable you to lock down. First, get more informed about what's actually going on in your devices, and then second, to actually like get down. Yes. Yeah. Broyo, I think it's still on the home page. No, I think we dropped it actually now for macOS.
Yeah, macOS, there's a whole blog post, not blog post, on the docs page. There's a whole page about explaining macOS and how we see it and when we're going to do it and why we waited and why we're waiting. So maybe we can like post that in the show notes.
Maybe. If you don't forget, and
I think don't. Just open the docs.safing.io, and there's a Mac menu item somewhere.
That is true, and there's
really easy to find.
Also, docs.safing. There are actually FAQ articles in there now, which like Daniel so kindly wrote and is updating. There are more there as well. I think we need to make that more clear. If you click on FAQ, there are actually more there. But yes, docs.safing.io, great place to have a look. But also, haven't I said that in the roadmap as well? I think I missed this. So last little tidbit, if the person who asked this is still here with us in the Discord, and we're not interacting with the person, I think. One of the next bigger things we're working on after V1 is actually an Android app. Yes, macOS is important to us as well, and of course it's a different desktop, but as Daniel is saying, if you read the blog post, it's, you don't see an ETA, that is true. Well, there is none. As you were already saying, we were only 3 people, and we're now splitting it a bit to at least get the SPN working on Android. and probably iOS before macOS as well, because we understand like if you're already paying for the SPN as a service, or as we're calling it then, Portmaster Unlimited, which includes the SPN, of course you want to have it on all of your devices. And people who are using Linux and people who are using Windows probably have an Android phone and probably have a phone as well. So it will be Android, and then it will be iOS, and then we will have another look at Mac OS. And hopefully at that point we will have more of you supporting our work. And we can actually afford new people to hire and to actually do all of that, because it's a lot, and it's like keeping at that point then 5 operating systems maintained simultaneously. Not cool. So would love.
Cool, but we need people.
We need people for this. Yes. At least one person responsible per operating system. It's and especially like Linux is already like, with all of those different flavors.
We feel the Linux.
We feel the Linux, and we taste it. Like, okay. But sorry, we need to get going as well. Love the chat, love the interaction. Thank you for being here and for asking us those questions as well. We touched lightly on some of the questions and from the description. We will, I think, probably do some more in-depth of those in the future. If you're here next, like in 2 weeks, we will be live again. And the questions keep on coming live. We will maybe do some pre-recorded videos for those questions. We will see if we will find that time.
Or if you can't wait, just hop on Discord.
That is true, and I wanted to exactly do that. Plug all the stuff at the end, but you can do it also.
Well, so we're on Discord now, so you can find us there. There's a link in the show notes.
Yep, discord.gg/safink.
Find us on Twitter, write us there. And if you haven't already, of course, download Portmaster, use it, and upgrade for the SPN. It is ready, it is there, and it is amazing.
Yeah. You, of course, as we discussed so like in detail now, you can support our work by supporting us directly through subscribing to the SPN or Portmaster Unlimited. All of those plans, it will just be a rename. It's still the $9.90. People have been asking how they can pay. We accept crypto. I know it's going like crypto's crazy at the moment. I think we stopped accepting Ethereum for the time being, exactly for this reason. Because it's like very up and down. But if you have Monero, we accept Monero, we accept Bitcoin. And it's all going directly into the work in the Portmaster and in the SPN. So Brojo, thank you for joining us on Discord. As I said, or as he said, description below. Like, share, subscribe. We have 200 subs. That's cool. And I wish you all a great day. Have a good one. Bye.
See ya.